my name is Zachary Ellsworth.
Hello, my name is Anthony Terry.
We are filming this project for a course we are taking here at Eastern Michigan University. It is called SWRK468 and SWRK568. Social work practice with active duty military veterans and military families. It is a cross-listed course for undergraduate students as well as graduate students. I am in the master's program here in social work with a concentration towards the aging population as well as working towards a gerontology certificate. I decided to take this class because I am not a veteran. I did not serve in the military. And what I've noticed from my experience in the program and working with older adults, a lot of the clients that I serve happen to be veterans themselves. And that made me a little nervous that I would not be able to have a strong working relationship with them because I could not relate to them in that sense. So the reason why I took this class is because I really wanted to get an idea of how I can still have a strong working relationship with them, being that I did not serve.
So I'm a psych major and a social work minor. I've served 4 years in the Navy, so being a veteran myself, I wanted to be able to help vets in either of those paths. And taking this class was a way to look at it through a social work perspective and get a greater idea of how I could help out my fellow veterans.
And for this assignment, we each interviewed 2 veterans to get an idea of what they thought about social workers and what they wanted in their working relationship with social workers, what social workers could do to develop a strong working relationship with them, especially ones on my part, especially ones that did not serve in the military like I did now. So I'm going to let Anthony start with what he did for his interviews, and then I'll talk a little bit about mine.
So for my interviews, I interviewed 2 people. One was a younger 22-year-old Army veteran, and he had a history of mental illness. So his experiences with social workers as a whole were very negative. He did not get the treatment he needed while in active duty, and then when he got out, his words were kind of along that he did not get the help he needed, and that social workers could not help him. So he had a very negative aspect and didn't feel that anything could be done at that point. The other veteran I interviewed was an older veteran in the Marines. He was mid-40s, 45. Generally, his experiences were positive. He was able to talk and communicate with his social workers, and they did help him. The 2 negative cases that he had, one was a woman who was pregnant, and he said that she was very critical and judgmental of him, and the other one was a man who he felt like did not understand him and did not take him seriously.
I also interviewed someone in their 20s. It was a 29-year-old Marine, and then the second interview I did was a 42-year-old that served in the Air Force. And I asked him, being that I'm not a veteran, I just asked him how I could develop a strong working relationship and to get some tips on working with veterans themselves. And the big thing that came up was communication and the way I word things. They both said that it's very important if they are talking about an experience that they had while they were in the military, that I do not say, oh, I completely understand, or I know what you're going through. That will cause, they both said that will cause them to disconnect immediately, because knowing that I did not serve, there's no way I could possibly understand what they're going through. So it's more important to active listen and not say I understand what you're going through or anything like that. Just be there to be an active listening ear and then go from there. But do not try to say you understand and stuff along those lines. Another thing that came up is very important that they both had said, that it is important to understand that there is no cookie-cutter example of working with veterans. It's just like working with any person. Every person is unique, and just because you have worked with a veteran before does not mean we'll work with them, we'll work with the veteran you're currently working with. So to keep an open mind about that, and to know that you can't just assume that all are the same because they served. And then they both also acknowledge that it is very important that social workers that are working with veterans are aware of what services are out there, and both credited the VA as helping them out a lot, the Veterans Affairs helping them out a lot, and said that all social workers should be aware of their services and familiar with them so they know that they can refer to them and know what services are available if they are working with veterans. So now we're going to talk a little bit about certain tips for social workers who are working with veterans. And Anthony made a great point about what he was looking for if he was working with a social worker, so I'll let him start with that.
So in my experiences, I would say that as a social worker dealing with a veteran, he made a very great case about being transparent in communication. I would also add to that, be direct and to the point. Veterans will acknowledge and appreciate the fact that you are being transparent and telling them or being very clear with them what they need to do. Rather than give them a whole bunch of choices and allow them, they need to hear a path laid out for them. The military structure as a whole is it's very organized, very to the point. You know exactly when everything is going to happen and what time it's going to happen. So when they get out, they are longing for that type of structure. So social workers who do that will help them better understand what they need to do. And also, I would say, just to elaborate more on being transparent, if you don't understand the veteran experience, then don't try to say that you do. Just be honest, ask questions when you need to, and veterans will appreciate that.
And I just wanted to mention a very powerful and sad statistic that I read while researching for this paper and this project. The VA released data, in the report of that data that was released, reports that there are a total of 20.6 suicides every day. Of those, 16.8 were veterans, and 3.8 were active duty service members, guardsmen, and reservists. That is a total of 7,519 suicides a year among veterans or active duty. That is a very powerful and real and sad statistic. So if veterans are coming to see and seek help from social workers, it is very important that they make a connection and a strong working relationship with them from the get-go, because the interviews that I had done, they both said if they don't feel comfortable there from the first meeting, they're not going to come back. So that first meeting might be all you have with them. So that's why for this paper and project, we try to figure out what we can cover in this assignment, what we can cover if social workers that are not that did not serve themselves, what they can do to work with veterans or active duty. And some of the things that we were saying, like Anthony has said, structure is very important. So if you tell them that you're going to be meeting with them at a certain time, it is important that you start at that time you told them they were going to meet at. Especially if you tell them that you're going to start at 1:30 and you don't start till 1:45, well, they're expected at 1:30 to start discussing what they wanted to talk about. And come 1:45, they may not be wanting to talk with you anymore because they might feel like you don't care since you didn't see them at the time you told them you would. We had also said it is important to start just to establish communication in that work relationship. Ask them what branch they served in. Ask them what their MOS was, Military Occupational Specialty Code, so ask them what they did. And that way you have a strong established relationship from the beginning and let them know that you're interested. Even if you don't know everything about it, you are letting them know that you'll ask questions and that you want to know about that.
So while we have time, I would like to talk about a little bit of the resources that veterans can use. I have worked with the Buddy to Buddy organization. They are something that was started in Michigan. They are volunteer veterans who help other veterans by providing peer support, help with financial, transportation, and housing. So these are not all of the things that can be helped, but these are kind of the main issues that come up. And by using veterans who kind of understand what it's like to be in the military, they're better able to, I wouldn't say judge, but just get a look at what's happening with the veteran and steer them in the right direction. So we're not giving out clinical care or anything, we're just providing peer support and trying to help them help themselves. We also have the Military Veteran Resource Center located here in EMU. It is Pierce Hall, room 202. It's actually ranked top 5 in the nation of most military and veteran friendly colleges. And then there's also the VA, which I know that it's popular, it's vast, the VA, but it's here for a reason, and take advantage of it.
And then we also wanted to recap some of the stuff. I know we covered a lot in these 10 minutes. So we wanted to recap the top 3 points that we came up with during the making of this video.
So overall, to kind of take back on this, you want to establish a clear line of communication, showing that you care and are listening, establishing that relationship. Remember not to make assumptions. You may have treated veterans before. You may think they are all the same, but they're not. They're just like anybody else. And it's important that you realize that, because that's going to help you going forward with veterans. And then also, be aware of resources that are available. Some of these veterans have no idea. They get out, they don't know they can apply for disability, different than even to go to school or to get Pell Grants. You need to look these resources up and show them that there are things they can access to help them later on, after they've gotten out of the military. Thank you.
Thank you.